Welcome to a full review of the Mercedes CLA Shooting Brake. Let's go. In the front, CLA Shooting Brake and the CLA Coupe are not really different, look the same. Also depends on the trim level. Here today with the black pin grille, you know, there's also then the diamond pin grille available, for example, in the sportier trim, so you can pick that. 4.69 m, 15'4" or 184 inches is the length. That's about 5 centimeters more than the predecessor, or about 2.5 inches. And the length of the CLA Coupe or CLA Sedan, however you want to call it, is actually the very same. So it's this rear overhang that is different with this estate coupe form, so to say, a very special one, strong shoulders. So it is definitely a design object and could be this compromise between a sporty special look and still offering the estate room in the trunk. In the rear there's a new tail lamp design, a little bit more horizontal. This is CLA 250, soon more about the engines, and really rather like a raindrop design, so round in the rear. By the way, you open the trunk by flipping the Mercedes logo. We'll soon of course do that too. And in the lower part, well, yeah, this is where the fake exhaust police gas struts take this Golf. Well, but you also pay even more money here for this CLA. Engines, you get a 1.4 liter turbo petrol engine from Renault, or this 2 liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine from Mercedes, starting with the CLA 220, and then optional the 250 here we see. This one then with 225 horsepower, optional all-wheel drive. We have that here today. Is it really necessary? Not really, because it's front wheel biased anyway, and then some torque is also distributed to the rear, but you don't really notice it is that much while driving. 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Cockpit interior, and we'll soon talk about the different screen sizes that are available. Here, round turbine vents. Seats, they are available with different surface materials, and it's a great offering of Mercedes here. They offer fabric Artico leatherette mix, a full Artico seat, a full Artico sport seat. This one here actually, well, what is it? Is it the animal skin or is it the Artico? And it's really hard to tell because both seats look almost identical, but here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the animal skin seat. If there would be 3 stripes, this would be the same seat with Artico leatherette animal free. Getting inside, fairly easy. If you think about C-Class or this, I mean, this is even a little bit longer, as I said, in the C-Class, but I feel the front seating position, if you compare then A-Class or CLA Shooting Brake to the C-Class, is to me as a tall person a little bit better in a mid-size vehicle like the C-Class. This will not play such an effect if you're a little bit smaller than me, then, you know, it won't matter that much. Then you have here an advantage that you have the more modern infotainment system and so on. This can also speak for that. Steering wheel can be controlled in a manual way, a very smooth process, up and down and so on. The height here, when I'm sitting here, still a lot of headroom left, at least in the front. We'll see how it plays out in the rear. 1.86 m or 6'1". So I think you can get a decent position here in the front. There are different seats available, as I told you earlier. Also seat form wise. Here separate head restraint, but also sport seat with an integrated head restraint. This one here has seat heating. There's also this black and white seat available that has the integrated head restraint and has seat cooling and seat heating with a leatherette surface. That will also be an interesting solution we had in a different CLA test vehicle earlier. This is the interior overview. You start with a 7-inch left and right, optional 10.25 inch on the right, and then the optional setup like this 2 times 10.25 inch. That's it. And then you have the full digitalization unit. However, the base unit already supports the MBUX infotainment system, also with the voice input, where you can say like, "Hey Mercedes,
how may I help you?
Drive me to Berlin."
I am starting route guidance to Berlin.
Yeah, that's of course very, and I think at the moment leading on the market here, this voice activation system. The Tesla Model 3 with the upgraded one is also quite cool. You can do a lot with that. But among the classic manufacturers, this one definitely leading one, if not overall. You can also already see something of the front view camera. There's of course also a rear view camera available, and this automatically comes up when you turn on the car and then put in the reverse gear. Very nice resolution here. Soon more deals to the screen, both left and right. Let's continue here. Central forms here on the dashboard, all soft touch, great build quality here in this area. Nice with the round turbine vents. And here we go with screen details. You can see here is a nice visualization also for the map. There we go. When you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto connected, it appears up there and then it looks like this. I just have to unlock the phone here at the moment. There we go. So, and the sound system is actually quite bass heavy, I have to say, but actually quite decent. And the instruments here are also quite fancy, all digital then in this setup. You can also change what you want to see, like this here, and all 3 sides actually. I rather like to keep it a little bit classic like it is here at the moment. Then there's the head-up display, is a good option, everything in line of sight, not only sweet but also the GPS commands when you have a route mounted. Now on the rear, first of all, soft touch also into the doors, beautifully done. And then this is the big advantage if you compare this generation to the previous generation CLA. Here still some legroom left, that's good. And probably even a little bit better, or at least the same than in the C-Class. Then headroom is also okay in the shooting brake. I can even lean backwards and put my spine up and still can put a hand over my head. This is an advantage if you compare it to the coupe, so it's better here in the rear. Trunk check, today here with the manual hatch. So the advantage here for the shooting brake is 505 liters instead of 460 liters for the CLA coupe. So that's the difference, a little bit more capacity. You can see here this slider here is very well done because I like this, or press it once and it slides back. And I also put some luggage inside. You can see it fits here also in a vertical way. First get in this roundabout, there you can see how the steering is aligned to the road. You see it's not one-to-one. You have to steer a little bit more than the corner goes. Sometimes nowadays progressive steering ratios are in a way that they really, comply to the degree of the corner on the road and the degree here of the steering wheel, but that's indeed not really the case here. It's actually a matter of preference what you do prefer. When I'm a little bit going right and left here, it's actually quite fun. And again, as I said, the suspension quite stiff, so you don't have too much leaning to the left and the right. I think still a fun ride. So they try to master this sportiness and comfort compromise, but as I said, they rather tuned it a little bit stiff, a little bit sportier than I would expect what would be useful, So I think it would be more useful if they stressed the comfort a little bit more. But that's of course also a matter of preference. Here the start-stop function is activated right here, of course. I have also the rather subtle styling there. You can also, as I shown in the interior, the sport styling for the digital instruments, very well to read. Also what I can see in the head-up display is very well to read. I already get now to the sports mode. This will give us a little bit more boost on the motorway now, definitely. When I leave my foot here on the brake, then engine jumps on and off again. And if you ask yourself if it's good that the engine is going on, off, no, it's not. Definitely not. So now we're getting on the motorway, and I'll leave it at 50 kilometers an hour and accelerate to 80 kilometers an hour on straight surface. Let's go. Plop. that's it. It's already 85. So you see, even though it's a small engine, quite good performance, and we heard it also with the figures earlier. Pretty loud, this engine then, when it really gives you the RPM. Definitely, when you're here on the motorway and want to start an overtaking maneuver, you can always use the shifting pedals, shift down a gear or two, or shift up then with your right hand and hold it on the right pedal to get to the automatic shifting mode once again. Well, here in the sports mode, also suspension is a little bit stiffer and have a little bit more resistance in the steering wheel, if you, for example, prefer that. Usually for motorway driving, I would stick with the comfort mode. It's more, just more pleasing on the long-term drive. Always love this this inclination right here. It's pretty cool. And what's very interesting here, so let me set the cruise control, and I can set also distance to the car in front of me, for example. I can set the speed here, slow click to increase by 1 kilometer, and harder click to increase by 10 or decrease by 10 kilometer steps. That's, I think, a very good solution. And I think the size is pretty decent, especially here, when it's a little bit narrow. That would be one argument, taking a smaller Mercedes, that you say, I still want this compact size. I don't want it to feel like, overwhelming or something. It's still very well and easy to handle. If you compare it now with the Mercedes C-Class estate, there's not much difference lengthwise. The usage of space is a little bit better because there's a shorter hood and there are no 6-cylinder engines under the hood. That's why we have more space in the rear in relation to the exterior of the vehicle. And as I said earlier, the estate trunk area is a little bit better to use than with the C-Class, however. So that might also be up to what concise deal you get maybe for your C-Class or for your CLA. But definitely a lot of Mercedes models, they have indeed become quite close nowadays. So at 80 kilometers an hour here, still feeling very solid. Also very silent in here. So that's also something they improved from previous generation to this generation. It's way more silent in here, and of course then about this digitalization. Let's see if the run of road protection is working. So when I slowly get to the right, here, there we go. And this is the thing, some cars do that with steering, and I think that's actually better. You've maybe seen it. They do it here at Mercedes with the braking maneuver. But I was actually not shocked because I knew the car would start to brake. But if you haven't experienced it once and you get to the side of the road and you would expect the car, when it's reacting, to countersteer a little bit, and it's doing this harsh braking maneuver, yeah, then you might be a little bit surprised and you think like, whoa, hey, what's happening? So I'm not so sure if that's the best solution. I prefer it when there's a smooth counter-steering process actually. We'll go back to the sports mode, because now we'll head on to the motorway once again, and then we'll floor this car out, talk about the high-speed handling and so on. I hope you guys also requested that, because that's also the rare things we can do here in Germany, and of course just on some motorway parts. So we'll get on right here. Do some flying start. So behind us, of course, always a safety first here. And I'll drop the speed just a little bit before we accelerate, before we get to a straight level. Maybe it's raising a little bit this road. So I'll drop it to 40 kilometers an hour. Let these two cars pass, and then we can go safely. So 40 kilometers an hour, and let's go. Now. That's 150 kilometers. It's 180. That's 200. That's definitely enough. And quite impressive. I mean, it's not that loud here, and we're handling at higher speeds now. really good, very solid. Lane change at high speeds. Here we even do it a little bit faster. That's really very good. And now to our conclusion for today with the Mercedes CLA Shooting Brake. First of all, it's a very special car indeed because it is a compact platform but already a mid-size size or length. There's the Kia Pro seat that is somehow going in this direction now at a lower price, because that's one of the criticism points. It's a very high price for this one. You can also compare it internally with the Mercedes C-Class Estate. This one here with a shorter hood, better usage of space on the interior as for the rear legroom. However, this trunk area, of course, is somewhat a compromise also because of design form on the exterior. I really love this grey Magno color here, this paint again once more. Other than that, the interior is very stylish, very clean. The MBUX voice input is very sophisticated, that's good. You get a lot of non-animal choices for the seating in a very high grade. This is also one of the great features of this vehicle. I think it's really about this unique stance in the market. You know, there's not so much competition to this very car, to this very concept, and that's what's making it still stand out, and also in this generation. Changing from predecessor to this generation, I think especially that it's more calm on the motorway due to the longer wheelbase, also a little bit more, you know, development of course, so better noise insulation and so on. So digitalization and a little bit calmer, especially when running a little bit faster. I think the two main elements with this new generation. Fuel consumption is too high and price is too high. That's, you know, two criticism points. Other than that, really good things we've seen here today with the Mercedes CLA Shooting Brake. I hope you really liked it, and I would like also you to tune in next time. Thank you so much.